Hi, I wanted to go over some of the patterns that I use as the basis for the Regency clothes that I sew. And I figured I'd go from earliest in time to latest in time, and that I would also let you know which are my favorites and which are not. So a classic, iconic, early Regency period pattern is the American Duchess pattern that is put out by Simplicity. As you can see, it's an open robe style gown. There's a lot of fullness in the skirt. It does have a lot of gathers in the front. It has the very lovely scoop neck, and really a great back. So the Regency is known for having a very structured back bodice and the diamond pattern, the diamond construction in the back. And this pattern does that in a really great way. The sleeves are also fairly authentic for the time, and this is a lovely, lovely pattern. You can also use the different pieces from this pattern to create your own combination of elements, and it works really well and plays well with all the rest of the patterns. So that is Simplicity S8941. Next favorite is, this is McCall's 8132. This is an iconic pattern. It's also used to be sold under a Butterick number as well, which I don't know at the moment. I'll find it and put it in the comments. But this is a remarkably simple, great baseline pattern that you can use to create Regency era styles, pretty much covering most of the time. If you are leaning towards mid 18 teens, you want to have more gathers in the front of the dress. I will say one thing that I typically adapt with this pattern is I do like to make the collar of the jacket stand up, or I put on a different collar. And also I like for the sleeves to fit a little bit more snugly. So, but otherwise it's a really good basic Spencer jacket. I also like that it's little pleats, box pleats, and not darts. I think that gives a nicer finish, and it's easier to manage and control when you're making those box pleats instead of the darts. This is also one of the best patterns when you want to make one of the sheer overlay dresses. So for example, this sheer overlay, which is nearly invisible, this one, I used this pattern as the basis, and it came out really well. Now, again, that one's not complete. As you all, if you watch my channel, you know, I'll show you projects mid-construction. This one has a train or no train, your choice, and I just think it's a really good versatile pattern. The next favorite would be the McCall's 7493. Now, one thing with this in particular, as it stands, it really, really is kind of super costumey. I feel like the McCall's one, it's just so basic, but particularly the gowns, they're really just dresses, and they are just Regency style dresses. Are there a few things to change? Yes, but not many. The construction, the closures, the drawstrings, the gathers at the neck. It's really pretty straightforward. Even the square-necked collar on the McCall's 8132, it's a dress, okay? It's a gown. This is much more of a costume. I will say they don't have anything like a zipper. They still have appropriate closures on it. A couple of the issues I have. The Spencer, for my taste, comes down too low in the back. Now that could be because I tend to skew more in the teens. The Spencer itself is actually great if you're going more like 1805 to 1810. I do think the sleeves are great. It's very easy to embellish. I have made this Spencer, and I have added cages and embellishment and even a cap at the top of the sleeve. I am a big fan of the dramatic collar and the militaristic styling of this jacket. It's open robe style with a Spencer top. So usually I don't even make this as it stands. I've made it single-breasted as a pelisse. I am getting ready to do that again. Yeah, that's a project you'll be able to watch. But this is a good overall pattern as well. And I think the skirt is great, especially if you want that mid-teens on, not mid, like, you know, the teens instead of the aughts. This is a great skirt. Now we'll go to the newest, and I hate to say least favorite because I certainly have used it and I use it to my own purpose. So this is clearly a Bridgerton styled pattern. This is also very, very, very clearly a costume pattern. And one of the ways that you'll always know if a pattern is more historical or a pattern is more costume are the closures and the notions. All I'm going to say is these have zippers up the back. Okay. Now I still like it. Again, I'm not a historian. I'm just a regular person who sews clothes, and I love the Regency era, so I make what I want. Okay. Now here's what the main use that I have for this. I actually, I really like this pattern for petticoats. Part of the reason I like that is I'm a little bit busty. And if I make a bodiced petticoat with some of the other patterns, there's a whole lot of material between that and the dress and a chemise. There's a whole lot going on. So I actually really love this pattern to make, yes, probably not historically accurate. Well, I'm going to say not historically accurate. I like to make petticoats using that pattern. So here's a yellow one. I will be ruching these sleeves. But see how there's not a lot of excess fabric in the bodice. So when I have this on underneath one of my other dresses, I'm not so, I don't have so much fabric and so many layers. I also like that the skirt design, and of course I'm not putting a zipper in the back. I'm not that nuts. So I'm going to make my own closure back here with fabric covered buttons. But it does have the gathers in the back. It does have the lowered shoulder seams and the side bodice back, and just a good, simple, straightforward. You can do what you want on the bodice. On this one I made gathers, but flat front, so it's good for the teens. So that's my main use for that pattern, is I'll make colored petticoats to go underneath sheer overdresses. This is very common in the 2020 version of Emma. If you look, she has many brightly colored petticoats that she wears under a sheer dress. She pulls that off very well, and that's my intention here. So those are the big commercial patterns I use. I do want to show one pattern I'm very excited about that is a historically based pattern. And that one is from, it's from a company that is called Fashion Revisited. So Fashion Revisited, they have this pattern that has two collar styles for chemisettes, and very straightforward. They have excellent instructions that come along with it, and they have very simple and straightforward patterns. So I'll be doing a whole video just on creating a chemisette using this pattern. So this is a historically influenced, copied pattern. So when you follow this and you follow the directions they give you and use the materials recommended, you're making a fairly close to historically accurate chemisette. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, I feel like that's enough. These are pretty much my favorites and the ones that I use the most, and I do mix and match a lot. So if you have any questions about any of these patterns, put them in the comments. I am going to put a link to the Fashion Revisited chemisette pattern right below. Great company, fast delivery, excellent customer support. I highly recommend Fashions Revisited. So I hope this was helpful. Subscribe and like. Talk to you soon.